My top 5 AI coins for 2020-25 and for this cycle. So let's jump straight in. So we start with Creator Bid. The ticker is BID, listed on Mexi, Gate, Base, and PancakeSwap. Aerodrome, of course. And I think it's a very interesting one. Why? Because you have AI and agent exposure, two very important narratives in crypto, and I think it's undervalued. So here it's more like a play where like it's not momentum play, it's more like the fact that for me it's undervalued and it will at some point be valued what it should be, what it should be worth, and the valuation will be way higher. So actually my entry zone or like my accumulation zone has been below 0.73. Also purchased some at super low valuation, right? But I feel like at 80, 70, 60 million valuation, it makes sense, right? From the growth they have and everything. Why? First thing, we look at virtuals sitting at 1.2 billion valuation, and Creator Bid is only at is 10 times lower than that, even like 13, 14 times. And so that makes Creator Bid very appealing. Of course, they need few things to be as good as virtuals, like have more mindshare on Twitter, bigger community, have some very cool agents making it big and everything, but they are working hard on it. I think in the past few weeks, they had a lot of agents being launched. So feel free to check the website. So they have some curated launch. So it's kind of like launch that are not backed by the Creator Bid team, but where like they're like, okay, the project makes sense. And then it's up to the people to decide if they should like check the project, buy the token or whatsoever. So they have a few more coming up, Sonar, Drain. So Sonar looks like a cool one, backed by Philism. That he's the one of the co-founder of Creator Bid, by the way. But yeah, price-wise, because it's not only about being bullish on a project, it's also having an idea of like where should you buy it, right? I see too many people say being like, okay, I like this project, I buy. No, you need to also have in mind what's the valuation and does the valuation make sense, kind of. But here I think it's an interesting one. The chart looks super cool. And I think it can go above 200 million FDV pretty easily. So feel free to check all the curated launch. They had some cool one, Karoom, that performed super well. So it's kind of like, it's an agent launchpad, right? Like virtuals. So feel free to check it out and check the price. Of course, do your research. Everything I'm saying is not a financial advice, right? And we are going to discuss about another one. Second one, hub.xyz, HUB. So we have a sale actually on Q42. Starting in 3 days. So perhaps you will be able to participate. If you participate, go on q42.co. If you want to participate, you register. You can enter my code Q42BFF. It's a funny one. And yeah, it's an interesting project. So it's about bandwidth. So basically the playbook is simple. In the race of AI, in the race of DLLMs and so on, people underestimate data. Data is the new gold. It's definitely the thing that is very important. And this is where also on the data, where you can have an edge. Why? Because those LLMs, like ChatGPT and everything, you don't really have an edge on that. It's just a model, but a guy can build a better model, or if they have more money, they will beat you. For data, it's different. So what basically Hub is offering is like every community members will be able to connect to the data miner they will have, which is basically like a Chrome extension where you can lend part of your bandwidth. And leveraging that bandwidth, Hub will be able to scrape and get data from the internet. So let's say I'm a company and I want some financial data. Hub will be able to use those like IP, residential IP. So when you have a laptop, you have a like your kind of like the laptop address. And so they will have all like personal like laptop and everything address that are very, very efficient compared to servers or like to bots, because they are flagged by some website. You have Cloudflare filtering a bunch of them and everything, which makes the scrapping and all of that way harder. And so leveraging the network and all the people giving the IP, they are able to basically build a bandwidth super network. And so they are able to basically gather as many data as possible and sell that to some clients. So that's a pretty cool one. Feel free to have a look. One of the co-founders was at YC, Y Combinator, I think you know it. It's one of the biggest incubator in the world, and I'm super happy to have them on Q42, which is a community VC. The goal is for you to be able to build your VC portfolio. So here you invest at the pre-seed stage. So basically they had an angel round before, then they have the pre-seed where they are currently like raising, and then they have like all the rounds, and then they have the public round, and then they go TG. So I'm going to discuss about 2 other projects that are not listed and 1 project that is already listed. But first, why am I bullish AI? Because we all know it, AI is super cool, a lot of growth. We want to have more AI exposure, definitely. I'm feeling underexposed to AI when I see all the things that are out there. And when you look at the AI category on CoinMarketCap, I would say that it's pretty dry. Either projects from previous cycle or like projects that are like, I don't know, I'm not really bullish on. And so, yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, we need to basically, I need to basically get more exposure to AI. So, by the way, Hub is a grass competitor, currently sitting at 200 million market cap and an FDV above 700 million, okay. FDV, yeah, it was a bit higher, the price, so it was above 1 billion FDV. Another one. So, and this is where like also the important thing I think of this video is about valuation. It's not only about building a conviction of like saying, oh, I'm bullish on that. It's then figuring out the good entry price. That's the price and that's the valuation, makes sense. That's the most important thing. And this is where like you should FOMO a bit less. So a bit less be like, okay, I buy everything that a guy is shilling me on Twitter, but try to be like, okay, at what price, what is the fair price, at what price should I enter? So another very cool project that has been featured on Kaito. I think being featured on Kaito, which is social fi, right, is very interesting these days. You get a lot of exposure. It helps you grow the community quite a lot, quite fast. And basically Play AI had a sale on Kaito. So all Kaito users have been able to participate and to invest at a 50 million valuation to raise $2 million. And then that's your vesting. So this is really investing later on, like late stage, like very close to TG. On my side, you know, I really like to invest super early on, like do like real VC. This is more like public sale. And so this is like min-max allocation and so on. So free to check Play AI. But once again, I feel that the biggest win on AI are tokens that are not listed yet. Of course, some tokens that are listed yet are very interesting. That's why I'm talking about Creator a bit. But projects like Play AI and another one I'm going to explain, or even Hub, they are like the one that will most likely like overperform or like have something happening, you know. And that's why I want to basically have more AI exposure, right? And based on like how it will list Play AI, I will definitely most likely get a bag also at listing and monitor the project closely in terms of valuation and be like, okay, I feel it's undervalued. Okay, I'm accumulating and so on. So interesting one. Another one, I think I discussed about it on Twitter, but that's basically like a banger project. It's basically like, let's say, ChatGPT, but for videos, to make it super simple. So turn your dreams into video. You know, I think with LLMs, we have seen like already a lot of cool things, right? Most of the contents now will be posted through LLMs and so on. But what about videos? I feel videos are the real stuff people are looking at these days, you know. That's why TikTok is so strong, because people want to have those like the dopamine shot of like scrolling down and seeing those videos and be like, wow. And so yeah, they fundraised like at 250 million valuation. So that's the last round from like some big investors like IFE, Image Venture, NESA, some very big names. And then they did like a Kaito sale where people have been able to participate into Kaito, and then they will list. And so you have the valuation pre-listing, then the project lists at a specific valuation. Let's say they list at 400 million FDV. And then the market will decide, is it undervalued, overvalued? And so you should wait a bit after TG to be like, oh, okay, after TG, the price settled there. If you think it's undervalued, then you just want to get more exposure and grow your bag at key zones in terms of valuation. And then it's about the project to keep building, do things and so on, and perform, right? So that's something very important. Think in terms of valuation. Feel free to go test the product. Honestly, I tested it. It's so cool. It's so funny. You're able to generate like some cool videos super fast with like some very, I would say, compared to what we can have, like for example, on ChatGPT or like also like AI software used for videos. I feel the IP or like the consistency is higher, or like how the prompting is a bit more precise. So that's something very cool. So that was another one. And perhaps to end up on the fifth one, it's ATH. So it's pumping today. So that's a funny one. I've been accumulating a bit since the last few weeks, sitting at 1.4 billion FDV, 400 million market cap. I feel it's undervalued just first on the mind share they have. like everybody knows them. Everybody knows them, and also they have a thing that is like pretty unique in crypto. Is like everybody feel it's a cool project. Like IFIA is cool. The team is building quite a lot, all those partnerships, cooking super hard and everything. And so I try to do like a, so for CreatorBit, you know, I said like below 80 million, I'm accumulating slowly on red days. And I think I will hodl until perhaps the last high, which is like 1,500 million evaluation, or like wait for 200 million plus valuation to take profit. So that's a cool trade, right? That's a trade of, let's say we started from here. That's a trade of, yeah, almost 150%, and that's good exposure. And yeah, for IFIA, it's a bit different. It's a bigger project, more mature, so we are looking at smaller returns, but it's also like less risky. And so basically, we had the project TG have been able to consolidate. So it has been a very good TG because the valuation was super high compared to the previous round. I was like not early IFIA investor, but I was investor in like one of their rounds before TG. And trust me, the valuation was way smaller than it is now here. So that was a very cool one. And so has been consolidating quite some time at above $0.5 and then now consolidating between the 0.5, 0.05 and 0.03. And so I've been accumulating on that green box. Earlier that year, like I had some, I sold some like, yeah, earlier this year, starting to buy back lower. Haven't sold here, missed a bit that part. I was a bit like, okay, could I have like do like a small accumulation trade? And now I have my bag and I think I will accumulate below 0.00333. Let's say I give a bit 10-15% price gap and I will let it run. I don't have much AI exposure to be honest, so that's why I have added some, and I have also added CreatorBit, and I did a bunch of early stage investments on AI, and that's why I'm very happy to have hub.xyz on Q42 this week, and I hope we have soon another like AI project. So yeah, so I think IFIA will be a slower one because it's a less volatile project. In terms of listing, they are pretty well. They just need a Binance and a Coinbase one. So I don't know like how things are on that side. You know, to get the Binance spot listing, it's very hard. You need to have a lot of volumes and so on. And for a Coinbase, it's even harder, right? They are looking for different stuff, and in terms of compliance also, it's another level and so on. So that's a good one. I would say that volume today is big, right? Decent volume, but usually the volume is a bit lower. It's more like an investing coin than a trading coin. I think IFIA attract more like investors, smarter money perhaps, compared to like some other coin that attracts more traders, leverage traders and everything. But yeah, overall the goal of that video is to of course give you like few projects I'm very bullish on, but also give you an idea of like think a quant way. Think in terms of valuation and lens in terms of hype, FOMO and so on. I don't say sometimes it's important to FOMO, but it's also very important to not be too much focused on FOMO or hype and so on, but also be focused on valuation, you know. And that's why, for example, for CreatorBit, I had some virtuals, sold them to CreatorBit, some really long-term bag, because I was like, okay, I think CreatorBit is of course riskier, but I have a way better upside. And so the risk reward is better and the valuation makes more sense. So perhaps it's virtuals that is overvalued and that will go to a CreatorBit one. But I feel that CreatorBit is a bit undervalued. And for IFIA, it's more like a play of like, I think the mindshare is growing, all the metrics is going, and so I want to get a bit more exposure. And then Hub is like, I want to figure out the next big AI win, like the next IFIA early stage, all this kind of stuff. And so that's why I've invested in a bunch of early stage company and also everything. So yeah, that was your quant. Hope you enjoyed that video. Feel free to like, subscribe, share it to your friends. Ask any question in the comments, right? Happy to do a video if your comment makes sense. And cheers, see you soon.